Hello, my name is Matthew, and this is the Book of Matthew. Today's video is going to be a little bit of a departure from what I normally make videos about. I also don't want to pigeonhole myself into all political stuff all the time, because really I'm not like that. If anything, I'm anti-political, if you couldn't tell by my other videos. But today's video is going to be different because today we're talking guitars. And as you can tell by the title of this video, there's one particular guitar brand that makes me upset. And it probably seems really trivial to a lot of you, especially if you are fans, if you are guitar players and fans of this particular brand. ESP guitars, they make me very upset. And the reason being is, if you want to buy a guitar, like the vast majority of my guitars cost retail when you buy them in a shop, about in between $1,000 and $1,500. Now, you cannot buy unless you God, I'm already screwing up this video. You can't walk into a guitar shop and buy a brand new ESP for $1,500. You can't, because they don't make such a guitar. If you want to buy anything made by that particular company, it's not going to say ESP on the headstock. It's going to say LTD, which to me is stupid, because I can go into a guitar shop and buy a Gibson, an Epiphone, a Fender, a PRS, name your guitar brand. I can buy, it's going to say what brand it is on the headstock. Like, say for example, I'm a Jackson guy, if you haven't noticed, and this is the Jackson Pro Plus Pure Metal King V. Now, this guitar with the tax and all that was $1,500, or a little over $1,500. Now, all the Jacksons have Jackson on the headstock. Even from their entry level, the JS series, the X series, Pro series, Pro Plus, USA, USA Custom Shop, they will all say Jackson on the headstock. Why this is important to me is because, like I said, you can buy a Jackson with no matter what the price point, with the Jackson logo. You can buy a Gibson with the Gibson logo. Now, when it comes to an off-brand, there's secondary brands, like, say for example, we'll go with Epiphone for Gibson. Epiphone was a company that was separate from Gibson, that Gibson bought out in, if I remember right, sometime in the 50s or 60s. So Epiphone was its own brand, and technically it still is its own brand. Like PRS, we'll say, even though I don't like PRS guitars, you buy a PRS, like if you buy one of their cheaper models, it's still going to say PRS on the headstock, but it's going to say SE for the ones that were built overseas or whatever, which is no big deal. It still says PRS on the headstock. What makes me mad about ESP is, if you want to buy a guitar from ESP that is of the quality of this Jackson King V or whatever the hell it is, it'll say LTD on the headstock. Now, the thing is, LTD is not its own brand. It wasn't a brand and ESP bought it out. That's not how that worked. as a matter of fact, ESP is really screwy when it comes to their guitars, because all of their custom shop guitars and their USA guitars, or all their, well, they're a Japanese company. All of their professional line stuff, they always say ESP on the headstock. And now they have this E2, which is, I think, it's Japanese made, but they no longer put ESP on the headstock. The only way you're going to get ESP on a headstock nowadays is to buy they're from their USA custom shop, which is strange because ESP is, like I said, is a Japanese company. But they have LTD, E2, LTD Deluxe, and ESP, and it's one company. But to me, it seems pretentious, because it's almost like, they want you to spend a shit ton of money just to get that ESP logo on the headstock. And like I keep saying, I can go buy a Jackson, and it's going to say Jackson on the headstock no matter how much it costs. So, yeah, like Squier for Fender was a completely different company, and Fender bought Squier out back in the 50s and 60s or whatever it was. So it just makes me mad. That's why I don't buy ESP stuff. They seem really pretentious. But there's yeah, they just seem really pretentious. Like their ESP stuff is gold, and yeah, unless you have the money, you're not going to get an ESP. So anyway, so that's my gripe. That's my guitar gripe. That's why, for the foreseeable future, since 2005, I've been a Jackson guy. And I probably always will. That's what I always end up buying, because the quality is great. Even for, like, this is made in Indonesia, this King V. But this is neck through. It means it has a one-piece center blank going through the entire length, down here to the body. It has stainless steel frets. It's got lumen lay side dots. It's got a Floyd Rose 1000 in it. This thing, it's great quality for the money, and to see it in person, it actually looks better in person. I actually have the Soloist that goes along with this series. I'm missing the Kelly, which I'm going to get a Kelly too, because I'm a Kelly guy. So the Jackson Kelly, because of Marty Friedman, has always been my favorite shape. But anyways, so yeah, that's my guitar gripe. That's why I don't buy ESP stuff, because ESP seems really pretentious to me, and I'm not going to deal with that. If I want to buy a Gibson, I'll buy a Gibson, or whatever, as long as it says that on the headstock, or even Epiphone, whatever. At least it says it on the headstock, and they don't have different names for their less expensive brands, which is totally stupid in my opinion. So I don't know, just guitar player thoughts. My thoughts don't reflect anybody else's. So anyways, y'all have a good day.